Welcome back everyone, it's EvanHusa57 here. We are back on Neverwinter on the Xbox One, and today you guys have asked me to go over the daily and weekly quests throughout the different campaigns. So I've had to break them up into multiple videos. This video will be going over the Dwarven Valley in Icewind Dale. This is one of the hardest areas in the game. I have most of the quests unlocked for this area, so we'll be doing several quests there. And actually, here I'll show you the list. Atonement, Hold Up, Kill the Messenger, Maker's Mark, and Strung Up are all normal quests. And then the Hammerstone Queen is one that I'll show you where you need to go, but it's not one that I can do solo at least. So we're going to go ahead and go there. And now the reason why I split this up into a couple different segments is it's going to be probably about 30 minutes, and it's just an area that takes a lot of time, especially if you're doing it solo. So as you can see, I'm on my level 70 control wizard, and I just like doing this area better. Now, in order to get the Dwarven area unlocked, in Icewind Dale, you need to progress to at least this point, which is the second boon, and then you actually have to unlock the Dwarven area. And it does cost 30,000 diamonds to unlock it, but that is the area that you actually get Dwarven gold from. So that's why we're here, because you need the Dwarven gold for the boons, and Icewind Dale has some pretty good boons, as well as you have to go through the Icewind Dale campaign in order to actually get your black ice shaping leveled up, and that's what you need to make your elemental infused armor. So yeah, there's multiple reasons for actually being here. And pretty easy area. It's actually easier than Icewind Pass in my opinion. I know some of you might disagree with me on that. If you have other people with you, it definitely makes it easier. I did turn down this group invite from this other guy here because I don't know which quest that he has. And since I'm in the middle of doing a video, it's just going to make it easier than if we have separate quests. But pretty much you do have to take your time, make sure you kill everything. The most annoying things here are the bolters, just due to the fact that they slow you down a very insane amount. And we'll go ahead and take that box of salvage while we're here. So pretty much we're going to do the Maker's Mark quest. Now, you usually get 3 quests per day, and that's the max. Now, I've saved up these quests over the course of a couple days so that I would be able to show you more of the individual quests for this area than just 2 or 3 of them. If you do have a quest that I do not cover in this video, feel free to go ahead and ask a question, shoot me a comment. I'll help you out as best as possible. But this area really isn't too bad. It's actually easier to solo than Icewind Pass, due to the fact that nearly everything here can be stunned, whereas in Icewind Pass, most everything is immune to control powers. So if you are a control wizard, or pretty much anything other than a great weapon fighter or Scourge Warlock, anything that is remotely squishy, and you're trying to do it solo, it doesn't work out very well for you. I do happen to have this cleric over here, which is pretty nice. And also there's a lot of people trying to get their Dwarven gold, so if you're looking to do Needless Distractions, which is your quest for mining black ice as well as doing a heroic encounter, this is the place to go ahead and do that. And sometimes you don't even have enemies that spawn at these because there's so many people running through the quests. Most of the heroic encounters, it's not really a good idea if you're a squishy class to try and solo them. If you're a tank or a healer, or you got a couple people with you, then yeah, no problem, you can run right through them. So if you do see other people that are doing the quest, feel free to pick them up. It makes life easier. We're going to be doing the next one, which is Hold Up, and it's pretty easy. If you're familiar with this area, you can actually go ahead and run in a straight line, more so than if you're new to the area. And basically you'll have mostly bolters that you have to deal with in this area. So bad thing is if they hit you, especially multiple ones, they will basically render your movement speed useless, and that gets really annoying unless you're immune to CC or control powers. And well, pretty much other than abilities for the paladin and things like that, that's not the case. So you have to kill him pretty quick. As long as you get the drop on them, they're usually not much of a problem. And like I said, there's actually quite a few people that run around this area. Now, because I am doing this solo, that is why I put on my shield ability. Otherwise, I would normally have either Conduit of Ice or Disintegrate slotted in my RB slot. Some of you might think that these quests are basic, but I was asked to go ahead and do a video on these quests and, you know, how to do them quickly, how to do them easily. So, here we are. Sometimes these doors don't load in properly, and you have to kind of wait and give it a second, but you'll get them pretty quick. Is that a heroic encounter? No, that's not. Okay, we're fine. Sometimes there's a heroic encounter that spawns here, and it looks pretty similar to the non-heroic encounter, just towards the regular enemies. So that's why I was double checking on that. But we need to collect troll idols, and this is actually what one of those troll idols looks like. So since it's right in our way, we're going to work on 2 quests at the same time. If you can do that, anytime you can work on more than 1 quest at the same time, that's very good. It allows you to progress through the area faster. And basically, if there's no idol, I'm not even going to mess with that group of enemies. However, there is a idol right here. So we'll go ahead and take these guys down then. Get rid of some of the regular trolls. When fighting these groups, if you're fighting by yourself, taking down the small trolls while they do less damage to you than the big blood chanter is definitely the smart way to go, because you're taking less damage, and then you can just focus on one target. And you also only need 3 of these troll idols, so that's super easy. These 2 heroic encounters that are right here are not easy heroic encounters to do. If there were multiple people here, more than just like 2 or 3 of them, it would be a good idea. We have another control wizard trying to fight this group of enemies over here. I don't believe he is spec'd correctly, otherwise he would be right up in the face, so he should definitely check out my control wizard build. And this should be the final troll idol. Yep, there we go. Went slightly out of our way because we have 1 more door to open that's back this way, and that's for the hold up quest. That's pretty easy to do. Just gotta wait for this door. Come on, there we go. Load in and let me open it. Now we have the atonement quest. Well, the next part of atonement, which is pretty easy to do. You just kind of got to go in a circle. The Hammer Queen quest is straight ahead inside that area right there. And I'm not going to make it over there in time for the Black Ice Beholder. Well, I don't know. I might. I'm going to try and get there. If I can get there for that Black Ice Beholder, I'd be pretty happy. Count as a free heroic encounter. Huh, encounter complete. Okay, you know what? I'll just take that. And the main reason why I like those is you open it up and, well, yeah, 35 raw black ice, so that's perfect. We're going to go back and go ahead and make that offering. Sorry, you know, got a little distracted there. But that's what happens when you're working on all these quests. You try and complete them as fast as possible, and so sometimes you have to go out of your way and go do a heroic encounter.
The totem of Oral.
We're going to skip that Totem of Oral. There are a ton of heroic encounters here, so it's actually a good place to go heroic encounter farming if you wish to, but I would definitely recommend you have a couple people with you, either a tank or a healer. This area you can just run past as long as you don't have a companion summoned. you can kind of skirt around to the left side of most of these trolls, and you'll be past them if you stay on your mount, and they basically won't aggro on you. So then just make the offering. And that's it for the atonement quest. Now we have the kill the messenger quest. And you can kind of basically walk down this front section of the mountain, and then you don't take too much damage when you fall, which is pretty cool actually. If you just jump straight off, you'll basically die instantly. And there are a few people fighting over there, so you know what? We could use the black ice. I'm actually going to go ahead and step in on this heroic encounter. I didn't see that there were this many people over here. Might have stumbled across a heroic encounter group, heroic encounter farming group. That would be pretty cool. And this is one of like the medium-sized heroic encounters, so it can take a little bit longer to do. There's some, well, there's only one. Okay. Now, since these are heroic encounters, as you can see, they have a ridiculous amount of HP. Even though we're just dropping all kinds of ice knife and everything on them, and this guy's like, no, I don't really care. So I'm actually going to split off from them and go for this main group. It'll be of more use where there's a larger amount of enemies. I should also get a better chunk of raw black ice off of this than the other one that I did, which was only 35 raw black ice. And you do need to get 300 for the Needless Distractions quest. You don't need to get that all in one area. You can actually get that in either Icewind Pass or Kessel's Retreat or the Dwarven Valley. So you can get it in any of the areas or any combination there of the areas, which is very nice that it doesn't have to be one location. Just going to kind of bounce back and forth because there's a lot of trolls here. Fell trolls, which, yeah, not most fun things to fight. Shouldn't take but a couple minutes to run through this heroic encounter. Gonna get a decent amount of black ice for doing it, and then we'll finish up the last of the quests for this area. If you have any quests that are like kill trolls or things like that, generic quests, there are a couple of them. The trolls and everything for the heroic encounters do count. Most of the time, though, you don't get those generic quests. The only generic ones that you normally get are for killing the Hammerstone Dwarf Raiders and those guys. And they're basically the bolters and those dwarfs that you seen me fighting earlier. Sad thing is, for this this heroic encounter, we got to defeat 45 of these guys. It's definitely going to take a minute. That's why most of the time I pass by the heroic encounters. There's usually nobody doing them, or like one or two people. Would be nice if these guys would cluster together more. Ah, there I go. There's a couple of them. If we get them here in the center, that can actually be more use hitting multiple targets than just trying to hit one target. As control wizards are not really meant to be single target DPS classes. I know some of you might argue on that. That's not the purpose of this video, to argue the role of a control wizard, though. You can really build them however you want. You can be a 100% support build. You can be a hybrid between support and DPS, and then you can be just a straight DPS build, which is, as you all know, what the build that I'm running is. Almost about halfway done with this quest. Or this heroic encounter, I should say. If we get a couple more people to join in here, it'll go quicker. I see we got a couple pallies, and definitely Looks like a haste cleric running around here. A few great weapon fighters. See another ice knife, so there's another control wizard in the area. I'm pretty much just looking for the largest concentration of enemies, which means I can do more damage and then speed up this whole process. Actually, a couple pallies over here. That's really cool. So just waiting on the rest of these enemies to spawn so I can hurry up and get back to finishing the last few quests here. Rank 5 enchantment. Worth about 1,000 refinement points, 2,000 if you're in a double refinement event. Okay, not entirely sure why these trolls don't want to spawn here. I'll give it about a minute. If they don't respawn, the heroic encounter might be glitched, which in that case it means I just wasted my time. Oh well. We'll go on with our quest. That heroic encounter seems to be glitched, so that's a bummer. Normally you have to wait a short amount of time, but I've never had to wait that long.
Defeat the corrupted undead marauders.
That's a pretty easy heroic encounter if you got like one or two people with you. Sadly, we have to go all the way into this back area. This Kill the Messenger quest is not one that you get until you get a decent amount of reputation, the Karakunig rep, so you won't usually have this quest right away. But the Kessel's Messenger that you have to deal with they're really easy to kill. The worst thing that you have to worry about are the Chillborn zombies that they spawn. When those guys die, they actually explode and they do a pretty large amount of damage as well as they freeze you, so you really want to stay away from them whenever possible. Except when they drop a rank 5 enchantment for you. Then go ahead and pick that up because, you know, more refinement points the better. If they dropped a rank 3 or 4 enchantment, I'd say just leave it on the ground. It's not worth the time. Kind of give those heroic encounters a wide berth. There's no point in getting mixed up in them unless you need to. And we have to do this 3 times. Should be able to get this guy on the next rotation of powers. Yep. Now just for his little zombie friends. And a enchanted weapon. Okay, I actually haven't had that one before. Huh, Heirlooms of the Dead quest. Okay. Didn't realize I had that quest active. And this guy just decided to walk over here. And apparently his buddies decided to walk over here too. Alrighty, thanks for joining the party, guys. Was trying to avoid having to fight these damn things, but you know what? Oh well. Guess I'll get my Heirlooms of the Dead. Alright, now that that little distraction is over with, go ahead and pick up all these enchanted weapons. And take that gold. Well, silver and copper. last messenger. Again, most of these enemies you can skirt by if you just stay to the outside of them. And then you have less fighting that you have to do. There is another quest for this area where you have to gather siege engine parts, and that one's kind of annoying. Just got completion for that heroic encounter that I left, so that was really cool. Again, only got 35 black ice, but I wasn't really there that long, and I wasn't there when it finished, so that's okay. Alright, looks like I got a few people I'm going to have to deal with before I can actually do the quest. Well, finish the quest by killing Kessel's minion here. But we'll just go ahead and that's what the Chillborn zombies do when they die. They really kind of screw you over. A little bit of lag to go with everything there. Thought I got away from that one, but I didn't. Take the rank 5 for refinement points. Not entirely sure why the Neverwinter servers are giving me a bit of lag at the moment, but it's another thing that you have to deal with occasionally. And that's the Kill the Messenger quest. Alright, apparently I'm going to just rubber band there and get stuck by both of those zombies. I swear, this is ridiculous. And here we have the Salvage Siege part quest. So the thing about this one is you'll notice wreckage of like a siege tower, and that's where the siege parts are that you have to get. But you actually have to get quite a few of these siege parts compared to how many towers there actually are, and they're always surrounded by enemies. So it is going to take a little bit to go through there, but the good news is we're almost done with this area. The bad news is I can't teleport for some reason, because this game is just not cooperating with me tonight. I'll take my enchanted weapons, which Heirlooms of the Dead is complete. Go ahead and take that siege part. And we really don't want to run into the PvP area. There's honestly no point in doing that when we're just trying to do these quests. And the quests are annoying enough on their own, so we don't need to be concerned about other players that just want to PvP and mess with you while you're trying to complete your quests. Especially if you're not on your PvP build. Now, if I was on my PvP build, it wouldn't be a big deal. This area isn't necessarily the most heavily traveled for PvP. Most people PvP in Icewind Pass, but there are a few people that like to stalk these backwoods, and yeah, we're just not gonna run into them. Just looking for siege parts. And siege parts over here, and some raw black ice. Now we need the raw black ice because of the Needless Distractions quest, so you might as well go ahead and get it. I mean, I completed 2 heroic encounters. Each one of those heroic encounters gave me basically a very low level reward, which was the white pearl and the 35 raw black ice. Now, if you're not in a group, when you mine the raw black ice and you pick it up, you actually get 50 raw black ice. So from one of these small little nodes you can get 150. So basically you do 2 of these nodes and you have all the raw black ice that you need for the Needless Distractions quest. One of the easier ways to do it, that's for sure. And that's the middle of a heroic encounter, so I definitely don't want to go down there, and I'm probably going to have a little bit harder time than necessary finding the siege parts, because half of the area to get them is down there. with the heroic encounter, where I don't want to be. So we're going to have to kind of skirt around the outside edge and possibly skip this one, because there is some siege parts down in there, but as you see, there's a heroic encounter there, so I can't really get them. I'll see if I can get enough. Well, there's the black ice here, so I'll get that, and then try and get the rest of those heroic, or not heroic encounters, sorry, the rest of those siege engine parts. Crag cats are relatively easy to deal with, but they're kind of like the polar bears in Icewind Pass. They pretty much always aggro on you, even when you try and just run past them, so you have to kill them if you want the black ice. They're basically guarding it, but this area is definitely easier to mine the black ice than in Icewind Pass. In Icewind Pass, the raw black ice nodes are always guarded by either polar bears, which are just really annoying to kill, or frost giants, and the frost giants are immune to control powers, as well as they hit really hard, so I prefer this area. As soon as I collect this raw black ice, needless distractions will be completed. And you know what, we'll pick up that healing potion, because, you know, why not? There's also the siege parts right here, but of course there's enemies guarding them, so we have to deal with all of those. The skeleton dogs aren't really much of a deal. They die really quickly. Come on, let me grab these. So you see two wheels on the ground, it only counts as one part. It's a little annoying, but that's the way it is. Take that small box of salvage. And basically what I like to do is run the outside of this circle first and try and find all of the siege parts. You can usually get almost all of them. This would be 5, so I'll only be missing 1 siege part. Now sometimes that last siege part is what takes the longest to find. Oh, another potion, I'll take that. I'll go ahead and take the potion and pick up the gold while we're here. Alright, so all I need is 1 more siege part, and there should be one here. Yes. Awesome. Okay, done with the siege part. The Hammerstone Queen I'm not going to bother to do because that one's extremely hard to do solo. So we'll go through my really long quest list, and we're going to do the Strung Up. Now, Hammerstone Queen can give you a bunch of good rewards, but we're not going to do that one right now because, like I said, it's not hard to get to, but it's really hard to actually fight her solo, depending on what class you're playing. So we're going to skip that one. And that one's basically a drop quest where when you're fighting in this area and you're killing enemies, especially the Hammerstone Dwarves, occasionally they will drop a Hammerstone Hammer. And that hammer, basically, you go into your inventory and you click on it and you accept the quest that I just showed you, the Hammerstone Queen, and there you go, then you have that quest. Now, when you accept that quest, you can get all kinds of different rewards from it, from raw black ice to paradots, white pearls, aquamarines, sometimes flawless sapphires. Most of the time, though, those are pretty uncommon. You can also get the Hide of the Beholder, which is a black ice shaping profession asset, epic quality, and it's pretty uncommon, so it's worth a pretty penny if you do get one. Last quest we have here is Strung Up. Now, I know this quest a lot of people have had problems with. I've had to help out quite a few of my friends with it. The easiest way to do it is look for the big gatherings of trolls. Where there's a lot of trolls gathered around a tree, there is going to be one of the pieces of meat that you have to take down. So don't look for the regular trees, just look for the trees where there's a bunch of trolls. And yeah, if you know what you're doing, it's super easy to find the meat. You have to get 6 pieces of it, and it's in a relatively small area. So you just have to wait till you're not in combat, and then you can basically just run around and grab the meat. You'll see that I circle the outside area of the green or blue circle on your mini map. I like to go around the outside edge. It gives you a better view of enemies, as well as a better view of the trees, and you can see what ones have trolls around it and what ones don't, which makes it a lot easier to find the pieces of meat. Now, if you happen to get that quest when there's a lot of other people doing this quest, you'll notice it'll be a little bit harder to find the meat because the trolls won't be gathered around the trees. And also sometimes the trolls are gathered around the trees with one piece of meat on one side and with another piece of meat on the other side. So you do have to keep in mind you might have to go and actually look around the tree for where the piece of meat is, but they are pretty easy to find. These guys do a considerable amount of damage, and they also can throw rocks at you, so they do have a ranged attack. So watch your health. You probably will have to use a couple health potions. Again, that's why I'm using shield. I would normally be running straight DPS, which would allow me to use either Conduit of Ice or Disintegrate, which are very, very good damage spells, but due to the fact that I'm running solo, it's better to stay alive than have to keep, restarting or using a ton of potions, because, potions cost money, and, well, we're trying to get this done as inexpensive as possible. Also, I have my Dragon Horde enchantments on this character, so the more kills that I get, the better. We already got 4 of 6 pieces of meat. We're going to grab the last 2, which will be one right here and then another one up the hill. And I'm going to take a pretty good chunk of damage from these guys right now, so we're going to be using a couple potions. The war trolls are definitely harder to deal with than just the runts and the regular trolls. Also, I don't have all of my gear. I know some people will argue with me. I'm running the burning gear. I really like the stats on the burning gear compared to the elven gear for the control wizard. I know it's PvP gear, but I actually like it better. So that's what I'm running with right now. I do need to get some better rings and stuff though, and that will give me a little more defense and a little more damage. Last piece of meat is right here. So you can just come up the hill, get a better angle on these trolls for that sudden storm, so I can hit all of them. And I do have points into icy veins. That's why these guys freeze so quickly. And then we'll take down this last piece of meat. You can also use invocation, so I might as well do that while I'm here. The last step is to throw the meat in the fire. So you come over here and you interrupt these trolls' dance party. Going to go ahead and let them group up so that I can do the most damage possible with my attacks. Just kind of circle around them, make sure that they stay on icy terrain, and then go ahead and use Sudden Storm and Steal Time on them. And we're going to use a couple potions as soon as I'm out of combat. You'll see why in a second. Definitely recommend you have full health when you do this, because you burn the meat and then you have to deal with a fell troll. This guy's kind of nasty actually though. He does freeze, so he's not immune to control powers. Also, you can get him stuck on the flaming carts and debris and everything, and if you get him stuck on there, he'll just take damage from the fire, and he'll do that. He'll catch himself on fire, and yeah. So if you are not a DPS class, that is one way that you can make your life easier and just catch him on fire. And yeah, it's funny, but you do have to actually stay in combat with him because he does disappear on you, so you have to be careful of that. Mainly, I literally just get him close to the fire when I'm fighting him and then just go all out on him. And that normally works best for me. But, you know, everybody has their own personal preference. Do try and avoid his large forecasted attacks. And then, goodbye. So now we go and turn in everything. I know the video did take a little longer than I expected, but I had a lot of quests to do. I only actually missed 2 quests for this area. So I pretty much covered every single quest for the Dwarven Valley in Icewind Dale. And Icewind Dale, like I said at the beginning of this video, is one of the most annoying areas. It's not the hardest area in the game. The hardest area in the game is the Well of the Dragons, but it's just Icewind Dale is more annoying than Well of the Dragons, in my opinion, just because of the enemies that you have to fight. So, with all those quests completed, we're going to come back here, turn them in, and there's a couple of them that you actually can't do from your mount. You have to get kind of the perfect line of sight, jump up on the wagon to go ahead and put the items in the wagon, and then you'll see Maker's Mark and Strung up. Go ahead and turn those in. Come over here, turn in Atonement and hold up. So, we're racking up that Dwarven gold here. Turn in Heirlooms of the Dead, kill the Messenger, and Lawful Salvage. It's another 3 Dwarven gold. And then our last quest that we will be turning in is actually, is over here. It'll be at whichever faction. Now I'm in the Arcane Brotherhood, so you come to this lady. If I can actually go ahead and get that. And there you go. So, that's pretty much all the quests for the Dwarven area. Dwarven Valley. If you have any questions, comments, anything that else you'd like to see a video done on, make sure you leave a comment or send me a message. Otherwise, smash the like button and remember to subscribe for more content. So, thanks for watching. I will catch you all in Sharndar next.